Hello everyone, it's me again. I'm back with another update. It is Thursday, the 27th of February. Let me just double check. I'm right. There's just way too much news today, so I can't include everything, so I've just included some bits that I thought were quite interesting, that stand out. First of all, to the count. So the current count is 82,588 people infected. I'll put the latest numbers on the screen because, like I say, it always changes. And 2,814 deaths at time of recording this video. Today, South Korea had more new cases than China. Can you imagine that? So South Korea's count now is 1,766. This thing is crazy. It's kicking off. And Iran had 106 new cases today and 7 deaths. Italy, another 58 cases, Japan 35. And it seems like every day there's a new country added to this list. So over the next couple of weeks, because it's just started in Italy pretty much like this week, and I'm sure over the next 2 weeks, because the incubation period is 14 days, we're going to find out how many more people have been infected from that outbreak in Italy. It is gonna take over Europe for sure. So I'm guessing probably around mid-March or something, we're gonna see Europe pretty much be the next hotspot. South Korea for now, and I'm sure because South Korea and China still haven't cancelled the flights, and they're still only checking for temperatures when people come off the flights, which we know by now, temperatures are one of the later symptoms. We know that you can still have the virus even if you don't have a fever. So I'm not sure why they're checking for temperatures only and not giving they should be giving every single person that comes off the plane a test, because South Korea to China is still open. China to South Korea still open. So I'm not sure how China is saying that they are in control of the numbers, they've got it under control, when people that are infected could technically still be coming into China. So now China's got to worry about people from outside coming in, not just people from China getting out. It's quite funny, isn't it, how the tables have turned. So China's got to protect its borders now, not just other countries protecting their borders from China. You know, what if someone from Italy in the middle of the outbreak flies to China now? They're just free to go and infect other people in China. So what good is all the work that China's done so far to slow down the virus if they're just going to keep the borders open? I'm not sure. We'll have to see what happens with that. In Singapore, someone is facing jail time for breaking the quarantine rules. So pretty much if you've been to one of the infected countries, you have to isolate yourself for at least 14 days. I'll put a screenshot up here, but pretty much someone broke the rules and could face a couple of years in jail as a result. I think Hong Kong is doing the same thing as well. I think everywhere should do this. If you come back from somewhere that has an outbreak of the coronavirus and you don't put yourself into quarantine, you don't isolate yourself from the general public, then I think you should be arrested as well and put in jail. Yeah, you're a public health hazard. You're a walking zombie. Yeah, put yourself in isolation. So I agree with the prison sentences on this occasion. There are some new rules for people going to the cinema in China, and I just thought I would share some of them with you because it's quite interesting. First of all, I don't know who would be going to the cinemas right now. I mean, I know I wouldn't. I'd rather watch a movie on my phone, iPad, computer, TV, anything, rather than going to the cinema during the coronavirus outbreak. What the hell? Anyway, for those of you that do go to the cinema in China, people need to register when they buy a ticket, providing your full name as on your ID, your address, your ID number, your phone number, the film that you're going to see, the date and time of the film, which cinema, which room, and which seat number. All of that needs to be registered online when you're buying your ticket so that they can pretty much trace everyone. If there's an outbreak in the cinema, they know every single person that was in that cinema at that time. I think it's a good idea for now, as long as this thing goes away after this outbreak, because that's kind of intrusive. All your information like that just to buy a ticket. I mean, they could find out anyway, to be honest, but it's a bit different when you're just giving it all at the time of buying a ticket. But if you were in China right now during this outbreak, or one of the countries affected, Italy, South Korea, would you be going to the cinema? I'm not sure. No, I'm not interested in any of that. No thanks. I'd like to be virus free for as long as possible. The first known case of person-to-person transmission in America right now of the coronavirus. And you know what, to be honest, when I looked at this story, I thought, you know what, it's their own fault because they've got these stupid rules. You can only be tested for the coronavirus. And wait, before I say that, I'm guessing this is another thing like what people say they're doing here, where they refuse to test people just in case they put the numbers up. So in all of America, I think it was like 400 and odd people that have actually been tested for the coronavirus. And the rules, the reason probably why it's so low is because you have to have either been in China or Hubei, or come into contact with someone known to have the virus. I think that's the most stupid thing ever, because if you've got all the symptoms, you don't know if you've come into contact with someone with the virus, because maybe they didn't know they had the virus. You know, right now people are spreading the virus before they show symptoms, so they don't even know that they've got the virus. You could have caught it from someone and you had no idea. Someone on the bus, someone in a crowd, someone in the lift, someone at your work. You don't know who's got the virus. So if you've got all the symptoms, you've got shortness of breath, muscle pain, a cough, a fever, all the symptoms, and you go to the hospital and they refuse to test you, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, because what do? They refuse to test you. Do you just continue about your daily life knowing that you might have the coronavirus and you might be spreading it to everyone and infecting everyone just because following the rules? That's so stupid. And I'm just not sure, I just don't understand why countries are so interested in keeping the numbers low when people are still going to be dying. You can't hide from it. People will end up dying and you'll have dead bodies everywhere and you don't know who it's going to affect. It doesn't matter if you've got money or who you know. There is no cure right now. So why would you want the infected people to be around on the street just to avoid putting a number on a form and announcing it to WHO? I don't understand. What's wrong with the government? What's wrong with every government, it seems? Every single government seems to want to hide their real numbers. It's kind of scary. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, what are they going to do when everyone has it? And it takes out 10% of the population. Aren't they thinking about their family and their kids? I mentioned in one of my videos before that someone in China was released from the hospital and ended up going back to the hospital about a week or two later because they were infected again. And at that time, people weren't sure whether it was actually a reinfection or they had another contact with someone else that had the virus. So it wasn't proven, but there was a conspiracy that maybe she wasn't cured. And I've always been thinking this, maybe these people who are cured are just being kicked out of the hospital because their symptoms have sort of disappeared. Sorry about that, I forgot to clear the memory card and the memory card has just filled up while I was speaking. Anyway, what I was saying was, I think, if you got this, there was no evidence that she wasn't reinfected by somebody else, like a second or third contact. So we weren't sure at that time, but I had my doubts that these people were just being released from the hospital because they were cured, and actually the virus was still in their body and was still multiplying, but it was just too small to be obviously detected at that time. So I wasn't too sure whether they should be just released after, you know, their 14 days of no fever. I just wasn't sure about that at all, especially because there's no cure for this virus. But now we've got that first case in the US where it seems to be that it's confirmed that this person still had a viral load and was still contagious after being released. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, because that is quite scary, because if you look at the numbers of the recovered, then you'll start to think that, wow, what if half or even a third of those people actually still have the virus and are still out there spreading it to people who haven't yet been infected? It's quite scary. And the last thing I want to talk about before this camera dies as well is the people who are in the Tenerife hotel in Spain. So they apparently haven't been told a lot of information. They've just been told by the hotel staff to stay inside because there's a health emergency. Some of them have gone on the internet to find out what's going on. Some of them obviously haven't because they are having fun together. I'm going to have to assume that they have no idea which one of them has been infected because they're all together, chatting away, going swimming. It just doesn't seem, just doesn't seem professional. And some of them are desperate to get out, because some of them who do know what's going on from the news, they fear that it's going to be Diamond Princess number 2. Wow. And there are so many more stories from today, but I just couldn't talk about everything, so, and especially because I've got one camera with a full memory card, this camera's got no battery, and the next thing will be my phone, and I don't want to use my phone right now, so yeah, that's all. That's all for today, and hope you had a good one. See you tomorrow. Stay tuned. This coronavirus is not going away anytime soon.